not being judged by human power. Now the priests have called Pilate out from his palace and asked and demanded that he would crucify Christ. Now Pilate probably would have been laying down in his palace, minding his own business, and now his peaceful time being interrupted. He goes outside to meet these people, and he is confused because now he is going to investigate what kind of a person this is. Now, Pilate, a Roman governor, has seen all kinds of criminals in his life. He has seen the thief, he has seen the murderer, he has seen all kinds of terrible citizens in his time. But when he looks at the face of Jesus, he sees a loving, kind, caring man who loved humanity, who fulfilled the prophecy, who healed the lame, he healed the brokenhearted, he made miracles. He heard all kinds of good things about Jesus. And he goes and tries to investigate and see what might have this man done wrong. And he asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews, as the priests are accusing you?" And Jesus humbly answered, "You say that I am the king of the Jews. I am the truth, and all people in this side of truth will know that I am truth." And as we have just recited the verse of John 14:6, these are the words of Jesus himself. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And Pilate, being confused, he asked, "What is truth? What is truth?" Do we ask the same thing today? What is truth? What is your truth today? Being in a high school, what is your truth? Do you know that your truth or what you believe in is actually truth? Or you might be hearing different kind of truth around you and you might be confused. Well, I affirm you today that Jesus is the truth, capital T. He is the way and he is the life. And if you are not certain, if you have some doubt, we can go always back to the Bible knowing that we can find truth in it. Because now we don't have Jesus around us. Do you see Jesus walking in the street or somewhere? We don't have him. He is in heaven, interceding in our behalf. But we can know about him from the words written in the Gospels. And these Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were not people who wrote their own opinions about Jesus. It was an inspired word from God about Jesus. So if you have any doubt, I want you to, or I would challenge you this morning that your confidence in believing in Jesus will increase. That you will walk out of these doors believing that Jesus is the truth. And you can have confidence in that. Now Pilate asked, "What is truth?" But never stop to listen what Jesus had to say. He goes out to talk to the crowds outside. He never gave a chance to listen. However, Pilate knew something about the truth. He have heard about Jesus. He have seen him, or he have heard of him being a good citizen of this world as well as the heavenly world. And he looks at his face and he says, a loving man, and he says, "I find no charge against this man." So he finds him to be innocent, with no sin. But the question is, why did Jesus has to be perfect with no sin to save the world? Well, after Adam and Eve have fallen into sin, our relationship with God was broken, because God cannot be in a relationship with sin. And since we have sinned and we have gone astray, Jesus and God cannot be in the same place with sinners. So he had to find a way to find that reconciliation between humanity that has fallen to become in harmony with God once again. So he come, and because we know that the result of sin is death, he comes to give us life. He came to die in our place as the Lamb of God, the perfect sacrifice that was presented as dead on the cross in our behalf for the Father to accept us back. So he came as the perfect sacrifice. He came to die in our behalf. And he is the perfect, innocent man. It's funny because later on he says, here is the man. I find no basis of charge in him. And why do you think he's called the man? Because earlier the priest has called him to be the God, right? They have accused him to proclaim himself to be the God. But now Pilate says, here is the man. I found no basis of charge against him. He is the man. He is the perfect man. At the same time, he is the perfect God. He's 100% man. He's 100% God at the same time. And he came and he stepped out to go through the pathway to the cross to take your place of death and my place of death. But what did Pilate know? Again, we know that he knew that he was innocent. He was perfect man. He was no charge against him. That's what Pilate knew. And what do we know about Jesus now? We know that he came to this world. We know that he went to the cross. We know he died. We know that he resurrected. And we know he is in heaven interceding in our behalf. That's for sure we know about him. And if we know that he is that kind of man and that kind of God who is loving us so much to the point of death, are we not going to believe in him? Are we going to turn our back and go somewhere else or decide for something else to believe in? If we know that he is the truth and that he is the only way to heaven, are we going to compromise? Because this is what Pilate did, unfortunately. Pilate was pressured from the people and from the priests, and because he was pressured so much and he wanted just people to be happy with him, he compromised his values, he compromised his faith, he compromised what he knew to be true. The truth that Pilate knew, that this innocent man, he should have helped him to be released and not allow anyone to even touch him. But in the contrary, Pilate steps out and say, okay, I'm giving it to the cross. I will let Jesus to be crucified. Aren't we sometimes like Pilate? Aren't we sometimes like Pilate? Aren't we sometimes know what is right, yet we choose to compromise our faith and our value and do something contrarily, completely different from what we know to be right? Sometimes we know what is right, but because we want to fit in a certain group of people, we compromise our faith. Sometimes we compromise even our values. Sometimes we do things that we know it's wrong, but because we want to fit in a group of people or in a special place we compromise our faith and we compromise our values. As Pilate, many of us could be tempted to do the same thing, compromising our faith and compromising our values. But the challenge for us today, that now that we know Jesus is the truth, He is the life, and He is the way to heaven. He never compromised for you. He came to this earth and He walked the hard way to die in your behalf. He never compromised to go that way. Would you compromise for Him? He never thought, okay, I could try perhaps find another way or manipulate something out. Or He even didn't think that, okay, they have sinned and I've done everything I could and I will let them perish. He never compromised to save you, and He never compromised to save me. Would you compromise to save Him then? It would be a tragic if you would do that. So, if we know Jesus is truth, if we know that He is the way to heaven, are we willing to believe in Him? Are we willing to step out in faith and believing that He is the way to heaven? This is our challenge for us today. I urge you that if you know that He is the true God, He is the truth, I challenge you that you would not compromise that under any circumstances, whether it's family pressure, whether it's friends pressure, or society pressure, or temptation, or pressure from the government, or from anyone else. I urge you that you would stand firm in your belief in Him, because He promised that He would come back again and that He would take us home. So, we know, again, to sum up what I've been saying, we know that God is truth. We know that Jesus is truth. He came and died for our place. Don't take that lightly. Don't compromise, and stand firm in your truth. Maybe we can do one song and then we can pray, since we have some time.